Staffers at the Justice Department and the FBI are now going over that draft report. It is expected to deal with James Comey's controversial decisions on the Clinton emails in the run-up to the election. Chief Intelligence Correspondent Catherine Herridge is following all of this for us this morning. Catherine, good morning to you. What is the latest on this?
Well, thank you, Sandra, and good morning. The Inspector General's report was widely expected in January, but sources familiar with the investigation tell Fox News that it was extended as new witnesses came forward and new leads were pursued. The investigation, which began with bipartisan support in January 2017, took on allegations that the FBI and Justice Department deviated from standard practice and the law in the Clinton email investigation. This came to include senior FBI executive leadership, since more than a half dozen senior bureau officials have retired, resigned, been reassigned, demoted, or fired. The investigation also looked at the Justice Department and specifically the Attorney General Loretta Lynch, who refused to answer Fox's questions recently when she was on Capitol Hill after former FBI Director James Comey testified that her meeting with Bill Clinton in the summer of 2016, and that was just before Hillary Clinton's FBI interview, was a game changer. What we understand at this time is that officials are looking at the draft. They're making issues with the classified information, what will be released to the public. And there's sort of a step in this process where the individuals who were interviewed and who are the subject of the investigation get a chance to respond. If you remember with the FBI Deputy Director Andrew McCabe, when he was terminated, in the footnotes of that document was his response to the allegations. He said in that particular instance, he felt that Director Comey was not necessarily forthcoming because he believed Director Comey was also the subject of a leak investigation.
Well, so this will be very interesting, Catherine. What are we learning from the transcripts from yesterday? The Trump Tower meeting, June of 2016, Senate committee released that yesterday.
Right. Well, the latest information we have is really a reaction from the Republican chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee, Chuck Grassley, and he took to the Senate floor late yesterday, and he pushed back against critics who said the documents released did not have the backing of Democrats.
Now, as to the Trump Tower meeting, Congress has learned as much as we are likely to learn, unless some new information comes to light. And that may happen. We have to be ready for it if it does. Other committees, the press and the special counsel, are all over this as well.
One of the things we learned from the transcripts about the June 2016 Trump Tower meeting is that Donald Trump Jr. testified to the Senate Judiciary Committee in a closed session that he did keep his dad in the dark about the meeting when the Russians claimed to have potentially negative information on then-opponent Hillary Clinton. Congressional investigators also asked about a number of issues, including questions for this man, Rob Goldstone. He said in his testimony that the meeting almost didn't happen because he said it was really kind of a confusing, chaotic situation with the Russians. And he said, you know, I am a music publicist. I'm really not someone who knows a lot about politics, Bill.
Well, Catherine, thank you. More to
You're
come
welcome.
when that draft report goes public. Thank you.
Let's move on to the Russia probe. 1-year anniversary today. President Trump just took to Twitter this morning and wrote this: "Congratulations, America. We are now into the second year of the greatest witch hunt in American history. And there's still no collusion and no obstruction. The only collusion that was done by Democrats who were unable to win an election despite the spending of far more money." And according to Trump's legal team, leader Rudy Giuliani, the witch hunt won't end in an indictment. Listen to this, Corey.
We're going to see what kind of legal remedies are available to us, including if they subpoena us, challenge the subpoena. The same reason they can't indict them constitutional. But I don't think they agree to the process question, which is the same reason they can't indict them, they can't issue a subpoena to him.
Corey, your reaction.
So I believe what Mayor Giuliani is talking about is a Bill Clinton-era memorandum to the Justice Department. I think it was in 1999.
Correct.
That the Justice Department is still abiding by because it is basically the rules that they have followed, that a sitting president cannot be indicted. But more importantly, it's not just that. There is nothing to indict this president on. I had the opportunity to sit there every day for this campaign, all the way up through the primaries. There was no collusion. There was no cooperation. And what we've seen from some of the FBI agents, and specifically Jim Comey and some of his contemporaries over there, they have lied on multiple occasions about what this investigation was supposed to be. It was insurance policy against Trump winning, and there's been no recourse on that. And what we saw from Jim Comey was he wrote an exoneration letter in about 2 minutes on Hillary Clinton before the investigation ever took place. What Bob Mueller's team has been doing for the last year is looking for evidence of a crime against the president, and it does not exist. So I think this probe by the Mueller team needs to finish very quickly.
I will point out as well, Corey, that Inspector General report on the Department of Justice's handling of the Clinton email probe, we're very close to it being released. And then you had that bright and shiny New York Times report on the FBI yesterday, which seems to be trying to get ahead of what's in this IG report, seems to be trying to get ahead of what Devin Nunes is going to release about the shenanigans, like some of which were illegal within the FBI during the 2016 campaign. I want to move on, Corey, to Trump also taking to Twitter on the alleged campaign spying from the Obama administration. He wrote this: "Wow. Word seems to be coming out that the Obama FBI spied on the Trump campaign with an embedded informant. Andrew McCarthy says there's probably no doubt that they had at least one confidential informant in the campaign. If so, this is bigger than Watergate." What is your take on this? This is what Kimberly Strassel has been reporting on, that Devin Nunes has been trying to get to the bottom of this one confidential person.
Well, if this did occur, and if this happened as it is potentially being discussed here, that the FBI took an individual and placed them inside a political campaign for the highest office in the world and used them as a confidential informant without notifying. Clearly, they never notified me, I can tell you that. I'm sure they never notified the candidate, because I would have been aware of that. This is bigger than Watergate. It shows how deep state some of these people are. And look, we know that Andrew McCabe now, according to our own IG report that's been made public, lied 3 times under oath about his responsibility at the FBI. One time he lied on the day that he was actually promoted to be the acting director of the FBI. We know that Jim Comey has lied to Congress. We know that Jim Comey has leaked classified information. If the FBI put a confidential informant inside the campaign, there must be prosecutions, and they must move very quickly.
I mentioned Kimberly Strassel at the Wall Street Journal editorial page. She wrote this last week, that Obama political appointees, we know, rampantly unmasked Trump campaign officials to monitor their conversations. The FBI played dirty with its surveillance warrant against Carter Page, again, using that dossier that was funded by Democrats by the Hillary Clinton campaign. Now we find out it may have also been rolling out human intelligence to infiltrate the Trump campaign. That's what we're talking about, and it's astonishing.
This is truly, look, if this took place in another country, the United States government would be saying the elections are absolutely thrown out by the wayside because of what the government was trying to do to influence this here. We would be hauling people out of those government agencies in other countries in handcuffs. There has been no prosecutions. There have been referrals to the Justice Department for prosecutions, but they haven't happened yet. Where are the prosecutions of Andrew McCabe for lying under oath to the FBI on 3 different occasions while he was the deputy director of the FBI? Where's the prosecution of Jim Comey for leaking classified information? There are 2 different sets of rules here for everybody. One for the FBI individuals who supposedly did these things, and one for everybody else, and the American people deserve better.
They're leakers far and wide. How about the leaker who talked to Ronan Farrow in the New Yorker, talking about why he leaked Michael Cohen's confidential these banking records? I do want to move on. Speaking of leaking, let's talk about plugging the leaks. Former Deputy Chief of Staff under George W. Bush, Karl Rove, this is his take on the chronic leak problem coming out of the White House. I just want you to listen and get your reaction.
This starts from the top. If you create an environment in which people don't leak against each other, then people will not leak against each other. I think there are a lot of people in there who think they're doing him a favor. And remember, who's the biggest leaker in the White House? It's the President of the United States, who calls up media figures all of the time and tells them stuff that he shouldn't be telling them. So he gives them license to do this kind of stuff. Needs to start from the top. The President needs to contain his outreach, and they do as well.
Corey, your reaction to that?
Look, my reaction is very clear. If you are leaking information and you're a government employee working on behalf of this administration to try and make America great again, you are doing a disservice not only to yourself, to the president, but also to this country. And look, go get another job. If you don't like the way things are going, you don't have to work there. Here's what I would do, and I've been very clear about this. I'd take everybody's name, I'd put it in a hat, and every Friday at high noon, I'd pull a name, I'd say, I don't know if you're the leaker or not, but guess what? You're fired. Eventually, I'll catch you, and I'll promise you this. I would only bring people in who would be loyal to this president and to the administration and the goal of making America great again and putting America first. These people who are leaking are doing a disservice to our country. We've seen them leak about information when the president is speaking to other world leaders. Then they leak on their own colleagues. When you can't have candid, private conversations in private meetings, then that's a real difficult work environment.
Have you said that to President Trump? Have you told him you need to start firing people?
Well, I know the president knows my view on this, and he knows that there are people in that building who don't support his agenda, and they need to be moved out very quickly.
Right. Stop fighting with each other and get on board. Get on board for America. Corey Lewandowski, thank you, sir. Good to see you.
Thank you.